Welcome back to another episode of Dynasty Theory. As you can see, the whole gang is here after the chaos that was last Tuesday. Dan, I gotta give you a round of applause, man. Last second, Dan picked up the slack for the two losers here, and mentioned myself. So Dan, kudos, man. But I don't want to sing your praises too much because we're jumping right into it tonight. We have a lot we want to talk about. Joe Burrow, some young, sexy wide receivers we're going to talk about. Is Daniel Jones for real? And then you did this with the listeners last week, and I thought it worked out extremely well. But we're going to be going through our list of should we buy or say goodbye, and then pause or panic. And when we do that, yes, it is a rapid fire. There is not going to be much in-depth conversation there. But if you want to carry over those conversations to the Discord community, click the link in the episode description below for the Patreon. What $7 a month, I think. And then you get a bunch of bonus stuff there. And you get my cross-positional tiers, a lot of good stuff. So got the little QR code there. You can scan that if you're not watching on your phone, or screenshot it and then get in there that way. All right. Oh, man. Oh, no, Joe's toe. I had fun with that one. But I did not have fun looking at some of my Dynasty rosters, guys. Looking at some of my Dynasty rosters with Joe Burrow and trying to see where we can maneuver. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about to start tonight's show. Joe Burrow. Dan, you typically are one that you want to contend at all times. Dan's not much of a, well, now I'll punt until next year. We'll slow play it. I don't know what your Joe Burrow exposure is, but this is the type of player that if somebody has him, he is a team-changing player, from a production standpoint. It's not like a J.J. McCarthy who, obviously super young. We don't really, we're not counting on him necessarily in our typical 12 by 10s, and he's on the, week to week here. But Joe Burrow, how are you viewing this before we get into Joe himself? The impact this is going to have on those other pieces, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Chase Brown. And we can, if you want to get into Noah Fant, Mike Gesicki, by all means, be my guest.
Man, if there's a silver lining, I'm hoping there's an uptick in Chase Brown. Like, just smart football, take a little pressure off Browning. We expected high volume going in. So hopefully there's an uptick in the silver lining. As for the rest of it, boys, like, my condolences to everybody who has Joe Burrow. I mean, Chase, we're talking Dynasty. So, like, you're going to be okay long-term, but you're contending this year. Like, if it's a startup and you took Burrow or Chase, you took them with pretty dang high expectations. And T. Higgins is that, like, 1B, 2 type receiver that you're also banking on Joe Burrow, because now that loses a little luster as well. Am I in a hurry to move those receivers? Heck no, because they're young. Burrow's going to be back. I'd be very reluctant unless it was something super sweet. But the Joe Burrow piece, to me, is the most concerning. Hopefully Jake Browning, we've seen he did okay a year ago. I don't think we necessarily think history is going to necessarily repeat itself just because he, did okay in the past. So there is some concern there. But this is the third year that Burrow's been hurt in recent years. We're starting to get a little injury history. And JB, to your point, man, if most of my rosters are contending. I have one or two that I'm rebuilding or retool just to be like you guys, because I like to experiment sometimes, and those things are fun. There are a couple rehab projects, but I saw one trade in our league where we saw Burrow get moved for Bo Nix, and to me, that Bo Nix, maybe May, Caleb Williams, those kind of deals, kind of sparks my interest.
That was me. That was me
you that did that.
You don't even know.
And you move Burrow. There's so many leagues I can't even keep track. But
I'm lucky that I can keep track of my own league, so I'm not going to blame you there. Yeah, and we'll get into some, whether it's interpositional pivots, cross-positional, whatever the case may be. It's always interesting when you talk about a player like Joe Burrow at this point, because he's certainly a first-round startup value, Mitch, in pretty much any 12-team superflex format. Mm-hmm. He's cemented himself as a first-round startup pick. But when you're in the context of the season, it is so different. How low should we be moving him? And again, like, there's so much gray area, but if you had to pick a spot, 20th overall, like not quarterback, like overall player.
Yeah, it's we kind of had a little chat in one of the leagues. Someone came in, was like, hey, I'm looking to move Joe Burrow. And someone, of course, came in, the Joe Burrow who's out the next 5 weeks or however long it is. And then the guy was like, well, hey, he's still a top 5 dynasty quarterback. And I said, he is, as long as someone is willing to pay that price. And I think that's what it boils down to in each and every league. You're going to have leagues to where I saw a Josh Allen moved for Joe Burrow and some pieces that didn't even matter. And I'm like, how does that get done? And then I see other leagues to where people want that top 5 value for Joe Burrow. And I'm like, look, I'll give you a Kyler Murray and a piece on top, but that's what you're getting. And like right now, you said it's point scoring season. I would love to come on here and say, you know what? Smart thing to do. Get your Michael Penix, add some other positional player, and then you could get Joe Burrow. Well, no, because Michael Penix hasn't been good either. So his value's down. So you have to look at the quarterbacks who have performed. The only problem is Daniel Jones is one of those guys right now. Russ Wilson is one of those guys right now. And so these guys that you can't sell because no one's really buying them. And then you want to go, hey, Trevor Lawrence. No one wants Trevor Lawrence right now. So then you just keep Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott right now is 24th in average as far as quarterback scoring over the first 2 weeks. Well, what do you do with that? And so with Joe Burrow, it's so league specific that if I cannot move him for that top 5, top 6 price, I'll sit on him. I'm fine. I will move on to next year if I have to, because in my opinion, Joe Burrow is still one of those elite quarterbacks. I can move into next year with him if I have to, if I can't get proper value today for him.
If I call a quick TO there, Mitch. So like your points, one little asterisk though is I think you got to watch, like you use my boy Dak as an example and noted how low he is in the rankings, but Dak's been playing lights out. It's just week 1, there was no touchdowns, right? Like it just didn't like show up in the total points because week 1, as well as he played, he didn't get the touchdowns. But this week was a different story for Dak as he, scored 31 points. But I want to take a little closer look at the O-lines. As we went into this season, you think about Joey Burrow, you think about CJ Stroud, maybe we'll talk about Bryce Young later. Like, should have we been concerned? Like, we knew that O-line was trash. And, hey, was this injury a direct correlation of it? Maybe, maybe not. But, man, he's still running for his life again. Like, these quarterbacks can only take so many hits. When you take as many sacks as he's taken, maybe Caleb Williams falls in that bucket as well. Does that put our draft capital at risk there when we invest in a Joe Burrow? Like, there's a little bit of a risk there we're taking, and we've seen it happen a lot with Joey. So
you're right. You can't deny it at this point. There's been enough of it on the field now to where it's not just one of those, hey, injuries happen to everybody. Well, injuries kind of always happen to Joe Burrow at this point. And so, Dan, you're right. Looking at that offensive line going into the season, maybe we should have been a little bit hesitant, but it's hard because he is such an elite talent. Like, as far as a thrower of the football, I'd say he's top 2 in the NFL. As far as what he does with pocket manipulation, he's probably the best in the NFL. And so it's so hard to be like, yeah, but he could get injured. But yeah, he always gets injured. But it's one of those things to like, well, how do you discount that awesome of a talent? Like, are you willing just to bypass that to be like, hey, I'm going to take the chance on the Justin Herbert who has hit the last 2 weeks?
I'm picturing we're going to be in a startup again next year. And let's just say nothing changes in Cincinnati or Houston. Okay, my quarterback's going to get the snot kicked out of him at least 60 times this year, where that other guy I could draft, or is this how I want to start my dynasty team off in a super flex format? Now, hey, we're in week 3, we're talking about this year, but now it's three months of no Joe Burrow. So I'll go back to you, JB. I think that concept of, hey, you've got a roster that wants to contend. I'm getting a young upcoming quarterback in Bo Nix, and it's a fair trade. The other owners getting that top 5 Joe Burrow next year, hopefully, right? And he doesn't want the points on his roster.
I want to look at the Browning-Burrow dynamic and the change there. Obviously, this year alone, we're entering week 3. Burrow played, a game and a half, Browning played, whatever it was. You look at the splits between the two. Deep throw percentage, Browning was at 19%, Burrow was at 8%. And again, I know just looking at it this year alone, super small sample. First read percentage. We see this often whenever a quarterback comes in off the bench and maybe they're just looking for that top option. His first read percentage, where he's going to his first option, 78%. Burrow, a little bit more willing and able to go through his progressions. He's at 61% this year. Time to throw, 2.33 seconds for Browning, 2.65 for Burrow. That kind of goes into that first read percentage. Browning isn't looking to go through his progressions. He's not looking to manipulate that pocket like Mitch mentioned. He's looking to get that ball out, and that's indicative there in that 2.33 seconds. Pressure to sack percentage, 10% for Browning, 24% for Burrow, because Browning is getting the ball out. Here's something that's interesting. I think it's really going to impact Chase Brown. Check down percentage. Browning isn't going to, he was at 3%.
Yeah, if you're not getting to your second read, you're not throwing to the running
Brown,
back.
baby.
That's just how it is.
Right. Burrow 14%. And then just like we're going to talk about with Daniel Jones and with these quarterbacks where coaches want to make things a little bit easier, Browning's going to operate a little bit more with an RPO, and Burrow, he isn't. So when you look at the receiving options, first read percentage this year so far, Chase is at 43%, T 23, Fant 13, Gesicki 11%. So I ultimately don't think this is going to negatively impact Jamar Chase all that much.
No.
I don't think there needs to be that level of concern. Before you throw the flag at me, Dan, I know you've been waiting 2 weeks to do it. Just give me a minute. So I think out of the receiving options, T. Higgins is the one that is going to be more negatively impacted, than Jamar Chase. But then looking at Chase Brown, so far this year, no runs over 15 yards. He's getting stuffed 60% of the time. Yards before contact per attempt, 0.27. He is getting hit immediately. And then he's really not getting work third down. 50% third down rate in week 1, 21% this last week. He is down in all those categories. And again, it's 2 weeks, but he is down all across the board. Yards before contact per attempt last year was 2.03. 2.27 this year. 0.27. He is getting hit super early. So that coupled with the lack of checkdowns, I did move Chase Brown down a tier for me. So if I can cash out at that previous price, I'm probably looking to do it. And then if you're looking at Jamar Chase versus T. Higgins at their respective baselines and where they were, I'm far less worried about Jamar Chase than I am T. Higgins.
Dan, real quick, over the next 5 weeks, do you want Jake Browning or do you want Michael Penix?
Michael Penix. No brainer. Because I was just going to raise the red flag, not to challenge you, JB. But
wait, I'm sorry, Mitch. What was your question?
Over the next 5 weeks or however long Burrow's out, we'll see how that goes. Do you want Michael Penix?
3 months, 5 weeks, 3 months.
I always have hope, right? Okay, let's go 3 months. So let's say 10 games. 10 games, okay? We'll go 10 games. Do you want Michael Penix or do you want Jake Browning?
Just production-wise?
You want fantasy points.
Now, but here's what we got to look at and take a close look at, okay? I know there's some concerns in Atlanta. This last game against Carolina, Joe Horn is playing lockdown football right now, okay? This is DFS Dan speaking here, so that made it a little challenging for London, okay? They got to start getting other guys involved. But Jake Browning in the next 4 weeks has at Minnesota. They potentially could be a good defense, depending what happens with their offense, okay? Yeah. Their defensive coordinator, he could bring havoc. At Denver the week after, tough defense.
Not really.
Your Detroit Lions the week after that, Mitch.
That defense is the worst defense in the NFL. No worries there.
And then the Green Bay Packers at Green Bay, which
greatest
is
defense.
I'm saying you're looking at Jake Browning, who a year ago teams didn't have a lot of film on him. These defensive coordinators now have game film on Jake Browning with a terrible O-line, and there's a 4-game stretch coming up that's pretty brutal. I'm really not interested in Jake Browning. If I could get any of those guys I saw mentioned in our chat before Jake Browning, I'm going after him.
But
Danny Dimes, Russ Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, I don't care.
Isn't what you just said the same thing for every quarterback in the league? Like the defenses have films on every quarterback now that's not named Cam Ward, right? So Michael Penix also has tape on him now. I'm just saying that,
But
like,
he's good. He's got potential. Does Jake Browning really have
as far as
potential?
who's
For
going to
fantasy
score the
purposes?
most points, I think Jake Browning has a higher likelihood of outscoring Michael Penix over the next 10 weeks. I think
there's going to
much
continue to
higher
be
chance.
there's going to continue to be questions with the defense, and rightfully so. Jake Browning isn't going to be a super accurate quarterback at all times. He's still going to have 2 interceptions a game probably, but that coupled with the defense, they fall behind, they have to throw. Maybe Chase Brown's still not going to be as effective as I previously mentioned. I like Jake Browning for fantasy purposes, especially if you're in a league where it's -2 or less for interceptions.
I think in a lot of our leagues aren't that, JB. And if these interceptions keep coming, I just think it's too easy to just say, hey, Jake Browning did well last year. It's the Bengals offense. All is going to be okay. And he's going to score more than Michael Penix. I just don't think that's a sure thing by any means.
Chip says, what fab percentage? If it's 12 teams or above, pushing all those chips in.
All in.
Oh, yeah.
Mitch,
Yeah,
Mitch knows, though, you can't take it with you.
You said that about someone else. There was another player that was brought up in the Discord. Someone's like, how much should I spend? You're like, all of it. And like, once you spend it all, you can't keep doing that in future weeks.
Or you could be like Dan and trade for more fab.
You can. That's very true.
Okay,
also
so
an option there.
So back to Joe Burrow very quickly, because there's so many, like when you look on Dynasty Daddy, I think in a couple days, he's going to have the biggest bubble probably, because there's going to be so many trades centered around him, especially if a team sees themselves as a contender. If you don't have Joe Burrow, and of course, everybody wants to shoot their shot. Everybody wants to send that offer. And I'll be the first to admit, I'm not always sending the strongest offer whenever it's an injured player. And I know somebody's looking for points, especially if they only have one other quarterback on the roster. You need to find something that makes sense for that team. If they have Joe Burrow and 2 other viable quarterbacks, I might be looking to acquire Joe Burrow for some positional players if I have access. Obviously it's going to take a lot. Or if I'm not looking to contend and I'm looking to shore up my quarterback position moving forward, Mitch, like you said, feeling comfortable about Joe Burrow beyond this year. So with that said, if they have one other quarterback on their roster, you can make the play for Joe Burrow. You're going to have to send them a decent dynasty quarterback in return. But like Mitch mentioned as well, it's got to be somebody producing. Like, who were we just talking about before? Like a Cam Ward plus, a JJ McCarthy plus. Is that really all that enticing to the
CJ Stroud? What do you have to add to CJ Stroud to get Burrow? It's not even helping the team right now. You know what I mean?
Is that going to be all that enticing to that manager who is looking to contend still? So there's that option where you got to move a viable quarterback, but then there are so many lowish priced options that the Joe Burrow manager can go another way. They could go after the Aaron Rodgers, the Daniel Jones, the Russell Wilson, the Jake Browning as a stopgap option. Hell, go get Carson Wentz off of waiver if he's out there. So there's so many injuries and so many lower price options that there's plenty of opportunities for the Joe Burrow manager not to have to sacrifice him at a discount and still be able to fill that need. So if I have Joe Burrow on my roster, that's how I'm going about it. I'm looking for the stopgap option. I'm looking for a move like, I did the Bo Nix trade because I believe in him longer term. I believe in his production now. We see a lot of trade discussions and trade polls in the Discord where it's Joe Burrow for a Patrick Mahomes type situation. You need to get something added to Joe Burrow if I'm going to bail you out and get you Mahomes, but people still have that Joe Burrow value from 5 days ago. Mm-hmm. And they're still pushing, well, I need a plus with Mahomes. Well, this conversation's over then.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
I'm not going to do that. So you need to find something that makes sense for them and you. And I'm already running into a lot of problems where the Joe Burrow manager, they might have been on the fence about where their team was. And I've had several people reach back out to me and say, really appreciate the offer, JB. You know, God knows you send the best offers I've ever seen in my entire life. Okay, maybe that part's made up. But they did say that they are not looking to make the move involving Joe Burrow because they don't believe they can contend. So they're going to ride it out. They have their future draft capital. So it's kind of a catch 22 almost there because now they're down Burrow, but now they don't believe they can contend. Did I get my word count up, Dan?
I think we're good. 20 minutes in on Burrow, and we have like
but how much
just a little bit more to go.
We're pulling.
How much of the conversation, social media, the Discord, any podcast you listen to, is centered around Joe Burrow? A lot of it.
At least 20 minutes worth.
So for me, let me just say, I would move Joe Burrow straight up today for Drake May, Bo Nix, Patrick Mahomes, Hurts, Herbert, Daniels, Lamar, Josh Allen. I have him tier with Jordan Love. So if I'm in that contender status and I lose Burrow and I have Michael Penix and Baker Mayfield, I don't want to rely on Michael Penix as my quarterback too. I would do that 1-for-1 swap for Jordan Love. So the cross positional ones, that's going to be the interesting ones that we see when they play out. Frank, I have so much I want to talk about, and there is not enough time. There is not enough time. All right. Well, can we move on now from Joe Burrow,
I
guys?
think we're good. Yeah, we're good. We're good.
All right. So what are we doing here? What are we doing? We're going to do a little buy or buy. All right.
Yeah, I'm wondering how we're going to do this one. That was a fantastic graphic, JB.
And I threw a little jingle in there. Yeah, I like that.
Good job, JB.
All right, we're going to go Mitch Dan all the way through.
So I'm just saying bye for each one, right?
Yes. No, you'll say bye or goodbye.
Oh, okay. All right. Thanks for clearing it up.
All right.
Rapid fire, right?
Rapid fire. Troy
Yeah.
Franklin.
Goodbye.
Buy lower, goodbye high.
Just answer.
Not even one into it. I did.
Talking about.
There's a couple of them that there's a little asterisk with it. I don't want to mislead our listeners and just say buy no matter what.
No.
I'm buying low or I'm saying goodbye high.
But the point of the segment is to be able to carry on the conversation even further beyond this episode.
I didn't say too much. I didn't give the details. I just gave a little bit
still
more.
don't
There's a
even know what
couple
you
guys
said.
that deserve a little bit more.
All right. Wan'Dale Robinson.
Bye.
Bye. He's my guy.
Cooper Kupp.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Jawan Jennings.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Alec Iamaner.
Bye.
Buy lower. Goodbye. Sell high.
Bye.
Rashid Shaheed.
Goodbye.
I'm buying him.
And let me just say, these are all guys that had a solid week 2. And from a receiving perspective, they're all guys that have had solid or very good Trinity scores, which you can find over there at ddfantasyfootball.com. And then you'll see when we get to the other position players, they're guys that, again, had solid weeks. George Pickens.
Goodbye.
Oh, I'm still buying George.
Hunter Renfrow.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Tucker Kraft.
Huge bye.
Buying him.
Jake Ferguson.
You skipped one, but bye.
Oh, I did.
Buying him as well.
Kyle Pitts.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Wow. Hate
Someone will always overpay. It's Kyle Pitts.
Jawan Johnson.
Goodbye.
Buy low or goodbye, selling a little high.
I know it's rapid fire, but Mitch, I'm surprised by your answer.
I have so much Juwan Johnson I need to sell.
Let's see here. Jatavion
Diversify there, buddy.
Sanders.
Goodbye.
Goodbye to all the Carolina Panthers.
Even Tommy Trumbull?
That one hurts, but even him. Except for Tet. I like Tet, but I just don't like the Panthers right now.
Jared Goff.
Bye.
Buying him.
Russell Wilson.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
And again, just to reiterate, when we're going through this, if we're buying, you got to believe that you got to come in higher than their value was 2 days ago. If you're selling, you can still probably capitalize at that value, but it might be difficult. You got to be a little aggressive. Might be difficult to get that increased value, especially for a player like Russell Wilson. Bryce Young, who's losing offensive lineman after offensive lineman.
Goodbye.
So concerning. One for the season, one for a good stretch here. I'm trying so hard to say goodbye to my one share.
Spencer Rattler.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Javonte Williams.
Huge buy. And I'm so glad I didn't trade him to Dan all off season. It's great.
Didn't you trade me one share? I could be wrong, but
yeah.
I wish I bought more this offseason. He's a buy.
Ramondre Stevenson.
So, goodbye. My bad.
Buy low or goodbye, sell high. That's less words than last week, JB. I totally just mangled rapid fire last week. We just had
I love the way you did it though, because getting the chat engaged, like it's not. I actually really enjoyed that, and I don't give you compliments too often, Dan.
Hey, I had to replace your word count somehow, and it worked. It worked.
Kenneth Walker.
Goodbye.
Buy low or goodbye, sell high.
Jalen Warren.
Goodbye.
Buy low, buy, sell high. Like, I like Jalen Warren for a good price. I think he could help a roster. But if someone wants to.
Okay. Travis Etienne. I apologize to everybody that is being affected here by Dan's.
Buy.
There's something to it, though. So I will buy Etienne low or I will sell him high. I could go either way on those guys.
Dan,
I will sell anybody high.
Player in the league that's not a Cowboy, won't you sell high and buy low on literally like every player?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, Etienne has been productive. He's exceeded expectations. I wouldn't mind him. I would say he fits the buy category, but there are people that are going to hop on that right now, and I have no issue moving them just the same.
Dan, how's your ass feeling sitting on that fence?
So some of these other guys are more clear cut, It's just
Soft.
I'm gonna start calling
tough
you
crowd here.
Coach Sharman over there. All right, Jordan Mason.
Huge buy.
Goodbye.
I had Aaron Jones on the list, but then he hit IR, and I was like, "Oh, well, I mean, what are we gonna do?"
Mason's the guy to get in Minnesota, but I'm not pleased with that offense right now.
Cam Scattaboo.
Another huge buy.
Goodbye.
Chasing breakers. I was thinking the Enzo and Cass thing too. Soft. Anyway.
JB could have ran through that Dallas line last week, just so you know. I know Cam had a few nice plays, but
the thing is, the snap share is completely different between him and Tracy now. Tracy is the number 2 back, is what it looks like. So
it flipped. It did flip. But we'll see if it continues. We'll see if it continues.
It's hard.
And we'll see, even if it does continue, if Cam Scattaboo can provide fantasy relevance. And then, Dan, you wanted us to include Kayshon Boutte.
Goodbye.
I could see the goodbye. I needed to put him out there because he just keeps popping up, man, in that receiver. He's like a key weapon somehow in New England.
This
could be the greatest comment I have ever seen on our YouTube.
And also, Dan, you're bringing your own beer to that bar too.
It would be harmless flirting, and yeah, I might get kicked out for bringing my own. That's a story for another show.
Oh man, is Daniel Jones for real? Let me throw some stats at you guys here. Again, I know super small sample size, 2 weeks in, but is Daniel Jones headed for the Hall of Fame? Let me throw some numbers at you. Deep throw percentage. He's up from 9% last year to 11.1. First read percentage, 84% versus 71 last year. Turnover worthy throws. He's cut it in half from 3.2 to 1.6%. Time to throw almost identical. Pressure to sack percentage. Last year, 21%. This year down to 8.3. And that kind of goes hand in hand. Well, better offensive line, better weapons around him, better coaching, also utilizing that first read percentage and really trusting what's schematically there. RPO percentage, again, they are trying to help Daniel Jones as much as possible. Last year, 2.9% RPO. This year, 8.5%. Does it help, and is it more effective when you have Jonathan Taylor by your side? Probably, but they are looking to help him and make things easier for him. I still think Daniel Jones is a buy. I still do. Call me crazy. Mitch, how do you feel about Daniel Jones?
So let me ask you guys. Okay. So this is something I probably should have done preseason because I just pulled up the Colts schedule. You tell me when you're worried. Keep in mind, Daniel Jones just threw for 300 yards against, the Broncos defense that we're all saying is one of the best in the league, right? Tell me what game you're really worried about this team just getting blown out. He's going to lose his job. They have the Titans. They have the Rams. They have the Raiders, Cardinals, Chargers. They're back at Tennessee. They got Pittsburgh. Atlanta. Then they play Kansas City, but then they get like Houston, Jacksonville, Seattle, San Francisco, Jacksonville, Houston. There isn't like 4 games on that thing I'm even worried about at this point.
I got to throw the challenge flag on Mitch, John, because you see how he uses the schedule to his favor for Daniel Jones, but earlier in the show for Jake Browning, it was like, hey, I'm not afraid of any of those really good defenses.
There's nothing wrong with that.
But you are right here, Mitch. I'm not challenging for the statement there. Right. Guys, I think we're all sending a message. If I'm reading you right, if I am reading the room right here, he is for real. Before this season even started, before he had 2 games with incredible production there, we said, I remember us talking about it. He says, hey, guys, what if he has got a team around him? Last year, the Vikings, and I think we're seeing why now with J.J. McCarthy, the Vikings offered him, I think it was Rappaport or somebody said $14 million to stay last year. He turns it down for a better opportunity because he bet on himself, goes to the Colts. They got a good O-line. They got a great running back. And I truly believe every one of those receivers is good in some way. Yes. He's got everything around him, plus the schedule, Mitch said. There is no reason for this to slow down. And if they keep winning, they're not going to be in a position to draft anybody. I think they're going to sign Daniel Jones to a contract here probably later in the year.
Really big thing is that division is god awful. It is terrible. I was joking around in the Discord, but I really think by week 10, the Colts could have that division completely locked up. It is such a bad division now.
I made the comment, and things get unhinged during the game day chat.
It's the best part about it. 100%.
It's just tilting nonstop. It's just sometimes unwarranted victory laps, sometimes from me, but it is so much fun on a Sunday. I plop my ass on the couch from 1 p.m. Eastern until I fall asleep by like 9 o'clock. It's just nonstop conversations, and it's so much fun. But I posed the question. I think everybody ignored it because they didn't want to. It's nonsense. I said, is there a realistic world where this time next year, Daniel Jones has a higher dynasty value than CJ Stroud? I don't know if that's the craziest thing.
Well, they don't fix their O-line, Houston.
I didn't say right now, but I do think Daniel Jones gets extended. I think they continue to put him in a good situation. Shane Steichen now has the guy that they wanted Anthony Richardson to be. Obviously, Daniel Jones is far more athletic, but what can you do?
John, if you had to put, let's just say you had to throw $500 down. You had to say who has a higher dynasty value next year at this point, J.J. McCarthy or Daniel Jones. Where would you go?
I would still say J.J. McCarthy because there is we know there's always the bias, the what is it? Anchoring bias. Like whenever you had that value for a player, so many people hated Daniel Jones. He was so bad. He burned people. He was a joke for the Giants.
So
that takes a long time to forget.
So to your point, JB, that's enough probably to keep McCarthy higher in your tiers, right? They'd be higher in my rankings, but there's not a chance on earth anywhere I have Danny Dimes right now that I would trade him for McCarthy on my contending rosters. I just wouldn't do
I
it.
love it,
Well,
Dan.
and that's
I
the
love
thing
it.
with Daniel Jones too. He's found money. If like in Scott Fishbowl, I took Daniel Jones late, and now I'm 4-0, most points in the division. I don't like to brag about it. We did a 14-team Discord league. I made fun of myself there, 14-team Superflex. In the 10th round, I took Daniel Jones, and I was like, oh my God, this absolute moron took Daniel Jones in the 10th round. Looks okay now. You lucked into it. I lucked into it. So what reason do you have to move off of him if you are in a situation, let's say you have Mahomes, I keep saying Michael Penix, and Daniel Jones. There's really no reason to move off of Daniel Jones, especially if you're contending, because you have Michael Penix, able to just sit on the bench. I'd be looking to move him more than anything. But then you have Daniel Jones, who I know it's only 2 games, guys. I know, but he's in such a good situation. And don't we say that situation, as much as we want to admit it, it matters?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And there's a total different situation in New York, right? Team that got rid of Saquon Barkley. Like that. There's a lot of dysfunction there in New York. He is in an ideal situation.
I love this question by Sean. Do you guys want Daniel Jones and Igbuka or Penix and Marvin Harrison Jr.? For me, it's really, I want Igbuka on every team I could get him on. So that is the turning point for me. The quarterbacks or whatever. Like, I want Igbuka.
Could you imagine this question a couple weeks
About
ago?
15 days ago?
I think you could. Do you think you could get more with the Daniel Jones side? Like, can you get anything added?
No. I think this is pretty fair value, to be honest.
It's very fair value. I'm struggling with the Marvin Harrison piece because I still love Marv. I'm trying not to be like take lock on him, and I know there's a Kyler Murray factor, but
I mean, I'm struggling, and really, it's just because of the value discussion there.
Mm-hmm.
But I have Igbuka over Marvin Harrison.
If
So if
you're
we're looking at from the wide receiver perspective,
if you have all 4 of them on your roster right now, you're starting Danny Dimes and Igbuka before Marvin Penix every week, right? There's no reason not to at this point. So
yeah,
that's a great question. Great question. I would you sell for anything less than a first from a draft pick perspective? Like let's say just a typical 12-team super flex start 10. Like I would not move Daniel Jones for a pair of future seconds.
No. I got offered a third and I was like, that could be the worst offer I've gotten in years. And it really, you go back 2 weeks and it's a completely fair offer, but now it's just changed.
The movie Draft Day, the price now is not the price it was 5 minutes ago.
Very true. Yep.
Let's see. Mark says, what's up? He says, sent out 5 offers of Marv for Igbuka last night. Only 1 was accepted. I'm honestly surprised you got any accepted.
Same.
That's interesting. Did we hear anything? It's early. The game was just last night, but he was like taping up his groin during that game and was a little bit different the rest of the way. Hopefully there's nothing there short term.
I didn't see anything. It's still going to be interesting when Chris Godwin does come back too.
There's a couple factors there. I think we've seen the talent and we love him and want him. Like he's definitely worth it. But if you're trading them, but also expecting to contend, and he had a little injury last night.
Keegan says, I wouldn't move Jones for Dart straight up. I have Daniel Jones above Jackson Dart.
You've always.
I've never been big on Dart to start with there, so it's
a bunch of haters.
I still
don't like it from Utah. It's just how it is. It's fine.
How about Russ being reborn? Like, jeez.
But and that's the thing with Russ too. Like when we were going through the buy or goodbye, like, yeah, he had a fantastic game. Like, could we see a situation where? I guess it would have been possibly in the works already, and the Bengals wouldn't do it. but like Russ getting traded from the Giants.
See, the
Or
hard
do you,
thing with-
Mitch? Do you think it's one of those situations where Dable's like, Russ could allow me to keep my job here?
Well, you could say that, but or you look at it, they're 0-2. Yes, he performed against the Cowboys. That's gonna be one of the teams that we don't really, look at it be like, hey, that's a tough defense. Now he goes against the Chiefs, Chargers, Saints, Eagles, Broncos, back with the Eagles over the next 6 games. Like, there's a very, very strong chance they're 0-8 at that point. In New York, Russ isn't keeping that job.
Yeah, and we know, and we see it all the time. There was that very wide range of outcomes for Russell Wilson on a week-to-week basis. So
I think with Dallas too, it was just one of those games that was going to be high scoring, but their top corner was out, and their depth. They have no depth on the defensive side of the ball, so they can't afford injuries.
that was a fun game, though.
That was great. Yeah, it was really
That was
man.
a really fun
almost as good as the Lions game. Almost.
game. A laugh
Nice.
shaking heads. I wanted to have them spin all the way, but I was like, I'll just have them shake. All right, pause or panic. Again, going through, and what's going to be fascinating is when we kind of go back and think about week to week, episode to episode. I know everybody each and every week are going to go back and listen to every single episode just to go through this segment. But some of these players were mentioned last week. Some of them are going to be mentioned next week. So if we're pausing right now, and then next week we say panic or vice versa, it's going to be interesting to see how that varies. We're going to go Dan Mitch all the way through. Isaiah Pacheco. Now, and let me clarify too. If you pause, you're still okay buying at their current value, or you're okay holding them. If you panic, you need them off your roster now. You'll even sell at a slight discount. Is that enough context for you, Dan?
That is.
All right. Isaiah Pacheco.
It's enough to make me flip and switch my first one here. I will pause while I bite my tongue.
Panic, he sucks.
Derrick
Probably right.
Henry. Derrick Henry.
Why do you keep skipping, guys? There he goes again.
Wait, who did I skip?
Aaron Jones.
The second name on your
no.
list?
No, this is the one I took Aaron Jones off because
Oh,
he just hit the IR.
All right.
Oh yeah, I'd be panicking before the injury, before the IR. I was panicking on Aaron Jones. Henry, pause.
Pause.
JCM, Big Bill.
Be panicking, although I never bought in.
Pause. He just is what he is.
Zach Charbonnet.
Are you really pausing on JCM there, Mitch? Like, can you imagine if you traded your second like a lot of people did, and you have him, and it's like, oh
My
boy.
thing was always with him. He's Brian Robinson. We won't get into it. We'll get it more in the Discord. So if you want to
In the
have more
Discord.
talk about it, we'll get in the Discord. But he is definitely a hot topic each week.
That was my teaser. All right, Charbonnet, pause.
Pause.
Caleb Johnson.
Panic.
Trash.
I don't know who it
Oh,
was.
Mitch is brutal tonight.
I don't know who it was, but I saw a post on X, and it was from somebody I follow, but I was scrolling quickly, and they had the little video, and it was by Caleb Johnson. And if that's your journey, I get it, but I don't get it, honestly.
No. Not with that coach.
He's now being pulled off of special teams, which I don't know if he should have been on to begin with. But after that debacle, so he's fumbled the ball. He's had negative rushing yards. He's gave up a touchdown. What?
Nothing. No, I'm just saying you
Morale
yelled
is
at
low
Dan
right
at
now.
this
You're
not too long ago, but that's okay.
What'd you say?
You yelled at Dan for this not too long ago, but it's all right.
About what?
Actually, you gave the lecture, not
This
just
is a
JB, were
rapid
you?
fire.
I know,
It's
but I
supposed to
just
be a rapid fire.
I'm out on Caleb. All right, Amari and Hampton,
Pause.
Pause.
Ashton Genty,
Pause.
Pause.
TJ Hawkinson.
Panic.
Panic.
What the hell is going on there?
Hawkinson sucks.
Evan Engram,
Panic.
Panic.
AJ Brown,
Panic.
Panic.
Travis Hunter,
Pause.
That one's so hard. Pause.
Brian Thomas.
Pause.
Pause.
Marvin Harrison.
Pause.
Pause.
Okay. I respectfully disagree. Cortland Sutton.
Pause.
Panic.
Matthew, Dan's favorite, Golden.
Pause.
Pause.
A lot of these rookies need pause. This rookie class needs a little bit of experience.
Just checking the temperature. That's what I'm here for. Justin Fields.
Panic.
Panic.
JJ McCarthy.
Panic.
Panic.
I'm reading the comments here. Michael Penix.
Pause.
Panic.
Cam Ward.
Pause.
Pause.
Caleb Williams.
Pause, Mitch.
Panic. Like in the most extreme panic you could do. Panic.
Growing pains. He's still making plays.
It's okay. 5 years from now, we could say the same thing.
Mitch is panicking at the disco. And then Colston Loveland.
I had to add him to the notes, JB. Like, I'm pausing, but I'm panicking inside because I've got so much invested where I couldn't get Tyler Warren. Like, what is going on? I know he came out in camp, but this is a therapy session for the listeners, just so you know. I know I'm breaking the rules of rapid fire here, but say something, John or Mitch, to make me feel better, please.
He is a pause because he's a rookie and he's good. But, I mean, it's a huge panic. I mean, I am really worried about my Colston Loveland shares this year. But, I mean, I'm not going to move off of him for less. But, yeah.
It's just weird because, like, hey, DJ Moore's making plays. Rome's impressing us. Like, Cole Kmet's getting more burn than this talented guy. Like, and the draft capital is so high. Like, oh, man.
I want to end the show on a positive note. Tet and Rome to the frickin' moon. You know, even in the questionable Carolina offense, Tet has shown that he can be a premier receiver. Rome Odunze, he says, throw my rookie season yards per route run and shove him where the sun don't shine. Like, just, he has been fantastic. So right now, Tet McMillan, Rome Odunze, you're going to have to buy high. Mitch, are you willing to do so on either?
Dude, I love Tet. Love him. Or sorry, T-Mac. I have fully switched to the T-Mac.
That's progress for Mitch.
Dude, it is. I love him. I'm looking at your tiers right now. John, where you have him, you have him right next to Brian Thomas Jr., JSN, and Rome Odunze. I completely agree. That is, if I am going, am I willing to pay that price to get him? Yes, I am, because I think he is that good. With Bryce Young at quarterback, which is, pretty darn good, to be honest.
What threw me off, like, if you look at it from a Trinity score perspective, he's 16th through the first 2 weeks at 7.85, super high usage. It was a little bit lower in week 2. He didn't have a great target share because they threw the ball so damn much. And when you have a chance to get Tommy Tremble and Hunter Renfrow involved, you just have to take it. But Tet still put up over 100 yards. And yeah, he had 10 targets. But by comparison, like, get him 20 targets if you're throwing it 60 times.
Well, the thing is, we're talking about a rookie in his second game is already getting a 26% target share, and he's on the field 97% of the time. I mean, we dream for that with rookies. I mean, think of how high Travis Hunter's would be if he was getting that target share, if he was performing the same way that T-Mac is. And so I am all about buying T-Mac.
Dan, from Dylan here, are you adding a second to A.J. Brown to get Rome?
I am, because A.J. Brown, hey, do I think he's still going to have some good games this year? Sure, but he's entering that aging receiver range where Rome's just, man, he's just starting. So, yeah, that's a smash. Go get Rome. And then if we could talk just another point on Rome and Tet. So I'm trying to look at these guys at a different bucket for this conversation tonight. All right. As far as talent and liking them and getting them, they're the same, right? They're right next to each other in rankings tiers. Love them both. No brainers. But if there was one that I can maybe go after, is it Tet? Because, like, I tried all offseason to get Rome. And I had some success. People were still high on him. They wanted to wait and see and hold. Now he smashed the first 2 weeks, right? So I don't think you could touch him because those teams that weren't really going to get rid of him definitely aren't going to get rid of him now without paying a ton.
You have to come in super high.
Got to come in high, right? Tet, now here's the thing. Now I've watched these 2 Carolina games and like this kid's caught my eye. Like I wasn't aggressive going after him because people were high on him anyway. They weren't gonna, move him. His first 2 games, snap percentages there, like you guys are talking about. All right, 5 for 68, 6 for 100, but he hasn't found the end zone. Bryce is gonna struggle at some point. Now the O-line's gonna come out. Like, is he the guy you aggressively go after? Maybe you don't get him this week, but maybe he has a bad week coming up. Panthers are getting smashed, and he's a guy I would just hold and say, hey, like next year he's probably gonna be a megastar if this team could find a way to improve. So again, maybe not. I'm not saying it's easy because he's talented, but if you're comparing these 2 guys, is there a little glimmer of hope that maybe you could be creative and get Tet in some of your leagues?
Probably See, it's interesting because as much as they look at the Carolina situation and just the team in general, it's like, Bryce Young, I still feel like Chicago just gets so much hate. Like there's so much hate thrown over at Chicago, and it's a bigger market, obviously, but Tet might be a little more attainable. But let's go through a few trades here, just to show the price point that is getting done. The first 2 trades on Dynasty Daddy, and I wanted to make sure they weren't the same league where, I accidentally hit accept, let's do it backwards. They're different leagues. Tet for Marvin Harrison, straight up. We have a Brian Thomas and Bill for Tet McMillan. Somebody adding to Brian Thomas for
That's
Tet.
surprising.
Yeah, well.
Tet for Chase Brown.
Oh, yeah. I do that now.
That I like.
Oh, wow.
Those other receivers are tough.
Ricky Pearsall.
Oh, no.
Dylan Sampson and Trevor Lawrence for Joe Burrow and Tet McMillan. Wow.
How? Like, those are the leagues you just wonder how,
Cody says fully deserved hate for Chicago as long as they still worship the bean. But it looks so cool. It's all shiny and everything. But so those are probably, again, the more recent trades here, more standalone.
Yeah, that doesn't make me feel any confident. I'm looking at 0 touchdowns through 2 games, and I could see this team having some struggles. Like Bryce threw it 55 times this past week. As far as the Cardinals, I don't know. I'm worried about Chuba. I'm worried about Bryce with those old linemen going down because we've seen what Bryce could do when the line's bad and it's not good. And he hasn't really been, week 1 wasn't good for him at the Jaguars. This week was better, but now he loses those linemen.
So for T-Mac, 16th overall this season on Trinity, 21% target share. That's 28th. 12.9 ADOT, 35% air yard share, top 10 in unrealized air yards. So he is still getting so many opportunities that are not being cashed in. And Dan, like you said, he doesn't have a touchdown through 2 weeks, and he's still wide receiver 21 on the season in PPR. And he's getting almost a 25% first read percentage from Bryce Young, who maybe he needs to up that a little bit more. And we get some more production from Bryce. And then going over to Rome, who's wide receiver 4 so far in PPR, 33% target share, over 3 yards per route run, 5.6 yards after the catch per reception, 29% target share, playing down the field still, 13.5 ADOT, 47% air yard share, also top 10 in unrealized air yards. So all of that, still wide receiver 4 in the season. He has all of his team's touchdowns in the receiving game. It's only 3, but he still has all of them. And then he is right next to CeeDee Lamb in first read percentage at 33%. So when you're looking at all of the peripheral metrics and the efficiency and the way these guys are being used, and based on Rome being wide receiver 4 so far, I think Rome's going to be a little bit more difficult to acquire right now.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
I think he probably has the higher ceiling this year too, though. So I mean, it makes sense because I mean, I think Tet T-Mac finishing as a top 12 wide receiver, I think that's like a great scenario for him playing out. Rome has a good chance at being a top 5 wide receiver for the rest of the season. And so that's just kind of, the differences between the two. But I mean, I would love to have either of them on my team. If I could trade Marvin Harrison Jr. straight across for either of them, of course I would. I would add multiple seconds on top of that to get it done.
I thought Marvin Harrison in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
For Rome Odunze. Marvin Harrison in 2 seconds for Tet McMillan.
Yep.
If you want out from Marvin and you want to get in on those other guys, you got to add.
Mm-hmm. You do.
Like, do you think you could do?
See, Caleb could throw the ball. That's the thing. Like, he just got to stop doing stupid things. But he could sling it, Mitch. Like, he could make throws. It's not like a lethargic, like, oh my God, this guy can't play in the NFL. But like those concerns we have about Marvin Harrison, I think are mainly linked to Kyler Murray. That's what I worry about a little bit with Tet McMillan moving forward this year. Again, I think volume coming from behind, it's going to get him fantasy points. He's going to be that, hey, you're still going to get production on a bad team. But I think there's going to be some disappointing weeks. And as a whole, again, I have a lot of reservations with the Panthers. I think they're going to be competing for the first pick in the draft. So where were you going with that trade, JB? I just had to get that in there.
Like I'm looking, and it's crazy because Fantasy Calc, I like to compare those values because they're based on actual trades, and I have them in my cross-positional tiers, and I kind of utilize that to compare if a player should be somebody we should be looking to buy or sell. So Rome Odunze right now, it's going to change, but right now is wide receiver 20 on Fantasy Calc.
Good luck.
Drake London is wide receiver 10. Could you get Rome Odunze for Drake London?
I think yes. I think Drake still has some of that built-in upside from the offseason that I think that can get done.
50-50.
I don't know if I would want to be honest. I still like Drake London more than Rome. But
I would move I think, do you think people would prefer Emeka Egbuka over Tet straight up?
That's a good question. Yep. I mean, I would take Tet, but I understand the Egbuka part of it.
And that's a situation.
T-Mac, stop saying T-Mac.
That's a situation where, again, T-Mac, 0 touchdowns. Emeka Egbuka, 3 touchdowns. Like just the interesting dynamics with the respective offenses. I'm just reading some of the comments here, but that's kind of where we are with those 2 high-end wide receivers. If you want to get them, you got to buy high right now. Like we always talk about conversations. It's like, oh, so-and-so had such a great week and I'm trying to buy them, but nobody's selling them. Well, the price is different than it was because they're coming off 2 hot weeks, or they completely crap the bed. Oh, I can't sell this player. Well, you got to lower your price then. If you really want out on a player, and this goes with the pause or panic, if you really want out on a player, you have to be willing to adjust. From Jonah here, I just traded Corum, Bill, a first and a second for Drake. Is that Drake London? Probably, because we were talking about him.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's more than fair. I would do that.
I would do it. You need a top receiver. You got your guy in Drake London.
Yeah. So I think this was an interesting conversation tonight. Let us know, like the 2 extra segments, the rapid fire. Obviously, they are not in-depth conversations at this time. But again, we want it to lead to a larger conversation over within the Discord community where those conversations happening 24/7. Patreon.com/ I always mix up / and / all gas. You got the little QR code there. Check it out. But let us know if like your thoughts on the segments. Meant to be fun, but I want to hit on, because there's so many players we could talk about every week. That's, I think, the easiest way to at least get something out there about all of them, because otherwise the way these 2 guys talk with me, we'd only get through 3 players each week, and we can't have that. Oh man, well, hopefully everybody enjoyed this week's show. Dan, are you holding it together that we're cutting final thoughts?
It's not easy. I'm a little, uneasy inside, but I trust you guys.
All right. Hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We got stuff hitting the feed every single day between all of the fantastic content creators here at DD Fantasy Football. And then check out patreon.com/allgas. Get in the Discord. Fantastic community. A lot of conversations happening. I think a lot of the people in the live chat here can attest to that. For Mitch Sorensen, Dan Lamagna, I'm John Bauer. We'll catch everybody next week. Peace.